Now, the minority in Parliament have raised fresh concerns with government's expenditure on COVID-19 vaccines. It has emerged that another 109 million Ghana cedis was paid for the procurement of Johnson & Johnson vaccines without express parliamentary approval. This comes even in the wake of the controversy surrounding the procurement of the Sputnik V vaccines. As you may know already, the ad hoc committee that probed the issue established a number of breaches, including failure of the health minister to seek parliamentary approval. This has generated calls for the health minister to either resign or be removed. But even before the dust settles on that, the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Kezela Tuforsen, says the contract for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which government secured through the African Union platform, was not brought before Parliament.
I mean, what I know for sure is that government has paid an amount of 109 million Ghana cedis, and clearly this can be found in the budget statement. If you look at page 101 of the media review, it is clearly there that government has indeed advanced an amount of 109 million Ghana cedis for the purposes of procuring a vaccine. In fact, the president had earlier on said that about $25 million has been paid for a particular vaccine. I can also confirm to you that as Finance Committee, we have not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine. I'm also aware that the Health Committee of Parliament has also not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine, in line with Article 1815 of the Constitution. So clearly, Parliament is not aware of this procurement. Probably we'll have to wait and see how things will unfold and to find out as to whether there is a legitimate reason why government decided not to come to Parliament or not. You see, that kind of fact must be established first. And if it's clear that government had no legitimate reason not to have come to Parliament, then obviously an action can be taken. But if clearly there is a legitimate reason of which government decided to go through that route, then we'll be satisfied. My reading of the Constitution clearly tells me that under Article 1815, if indeed government signed an international agreement, there's the need for the government to have come to Parliament to actually get it approved or otherwise. Yes, we will wait on the Attorney General to give his opinion. So if the AG, who's the government lawyer, gives an opinion to say that government doesn't need to come to Parliament under Article 1815, we'll also peruse it and to look at the details to find out whether that is the case or not. But clearly, my reading of the Constitution is that government should come to Parliament.
So he points out the mid-year budget review, and we have been checking. Indeed, it is expressly written there. My colleague Kweku Asante joins us via Zoom with details of that. Kweku, do we know, take us through the portions of the mid-year budget review where this is written and exactly what the commentary is in the budget?
The paragraph 394 of the mid-year budget review that was delivered by the Finance Minister to Parliament just a few weeks ago. Paragraph 394 says, in view of the prevailing global supply constraints of vaccines, the government is exploring all other options to secure adequate doses of vaccines to help achieve herd immunity in the country. Government is expecting through the COVAX facility 1 million Pfizer vaccines from USA and others. And then it goes ahead to say government is also in the process of procuring 17 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines through the African Medicine Supply Platform in the third quarter of this year. So This is the speech that was delivered by the Finance Minister. But then if you go to the appendix, which actually shares more details in terms of the monetary value of all this, Appendix 4E, if you go down there, you would see 15% down payment to Janssen SARS-CoV-2, and the amount that has been paid according to this appendix that was attached to the mid-year budget review statement says that 109 million cedis have been paid. And this 109 million cedis that have been paid is representative of 15% down payment for 12,669,062 doses. And so 15% of this amount of doses that government expects, they paid 109 million. And this is all sourced from the media budget review statement that the finance minister submitted to Parliament.
Kwegu, thank you very much. Well, Kezala Tuforsen tells me that even though the House is on recess, the Health Committee, together with the leadership of Parliament, is considering the issue and will subsequently communicate their decision on how to proceed. But he adds that these revelations justify his call for a full audit of all COVID-19 expenditures.
What I know is that the Health Committee, working with the leadership of Parliament, is probing this matter to find out the detail of it, and the details and the fact of the matter will determine as to whether we should take further action or to leave it as it is. But we'll wait for the details. Government has spent huge amount of money. I mean, something close to about, if I'm not mistaken, more than 2% of GDP has certainly been spent on COVID-19. To date, we have not seen any form of an audit relating to COVID-19. Yes, the finance minister now in the budget statement, the media review, that there was going to be a probe, an audit into the expenditure of COVID-19. I also cited a document, the IMF Article 4 document, saying that the Ghanaian authority has agreed to conduct an audit into the expenditure of COVID-19. So all what we can do as to when this audit will be done, I'm not aware that the Auditor General has commissioned an audit yet. And I remember the Honorable Muntaka and myself in 2020 even wrote to the Auditor General to commission some form of audit into the expenditure of COVID-19 expenditure. I don't know whether that has been done or not, but if that has been done, certainly I would have seen it. But I can conclude that as we speak, we've not had any feedback from the Auditor General that says that something is being done or something has been done. So I'll conclude that nothing has been done.
Let's speak to Dr. Steve Amwa. He's a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament and joins us with some reactions to the issues raised by his colleagues on the other side, the minority. You can confirm that this did not come before Parliament for approval, but as a member of the committee, what is your reaction to these revelations about the failure of the executive to come before you to seek parliamentary approval for some of these transactions?
Thank you very much. My regards to our viewers this evening. Indeed, the issue of whether it came for approval or not, in my opinion, it's just a consideration in something I put in quotes, drift. Strategically, it is drift. It is not an issue that, to me, anybody who really give priority or precedence to the lives of Ghanaians, saving lives, will go into these areas. Even with the audit that my brother, in fact, my regards to my doctor friend and a brother, Atuforsen. My brother, even the audit that my brother is talking about, let's look at what it stipulates. It talks about audit entails one, financial statement, whether it complies with the standards. Two, it talks about the statement itself, whether there is materiality. It reflects the actual activities that probably we spend money on. Three, it talks about compliance. Most of the issues they are raising today is about compliance. And if you read the PFM Act 2016, Act 921, Section 18, I'm not a legal practitioner, but I think it gives margins for us to all be quite considerate in analyzing these issues and trying to compare these to other conventional issues or legal requirements earlier done in this country. It states three conditions. One, when there is war. Two, when there is natural disaster. Three, when there is health epidemic. Upon consultation, our fiscal rules and policies should be suspended.
Okay.
And my brother Atuforsen, doctor, understands what fiscal rules and policies actually entail. It's about budget, it's about expenditure, it's about the rules and regulations, the legal frameworks guarding these exercises or events. Okay. So under this circumstance, why are we being so dishonest with this? These good people of Kenyans, and trying to say that the time that even giant economies such as United Kingdom and other places were struggling to get even second jobs and people were dying, That is the time that you are talking about. We did not go here. We did not seek this approval.
Dr. Amwa, would it be fair?
I am so surprised.
Would it be fair? Would it be fair to your colleagues to describe their raising these concerns as dishonest, when indeed the ad hoc committee that looked into the Sputnik V vaccine, which has some of your members, indeed this was chaired by the deputy majority leader, say that the fact that we are in an emergency is not an excuse enough for the finance minister not to have sought approval from parliament? How about that position?
So my issue is not necessarily about my doctor friend and brother. Anybody, I personally, in my opinion, I really don't consider which fraternity you find yourself in, or your jurisdiction, or your position. I think what we are doing to the health minister and to the good people of this country is not fair, is not right, is not in good faith, and we need to be careful the precedent that we want to set in this country. So if your child has convulsion and the very particular medicine that you need is so scarce that we are not getting anywhere and it's become community issue, nobody is getting it, then they are saying that before you get your drug, you should go through A, B, C, D. You know, even with the law, the practitioners of the law always tell us that even with the law, when there is so much emphasis, they talk about the letter and the spirit. If there is evidence of siphoning state fund, that one, Atufosi knows the way I am. I will go all out to fight it.
But doesn't the law also provide for emergencies?
So now we are okay. The time that people were all scared, we were all panicking. Nobody raised this issue. Now, by the grace of God, we've been able to manage this pandemic to the extent that at least we've saved some lives. It's not too bad. Now that we want to hold somebody just because the person gave, precedence to saving life.
But Dr. Amwa,
saving money.
Indeed,
do we understand peacetime and wartime?
Indeed, we were not in ordinary situations, but the law even provides. The law provides for how you should handle matters when there's an emergency.
But the same law also makes this statement. Let's analyze this in its right context and detail. That the same law, if you want me to quote again, I don't have the book with me here, but I know I'm 100% sure. Unless maybe the interpretation of it, because I'm not a legal practitioner. But I think ABC doesn't have to call for somebody who cannot read and write to understand that ABCD first letters of the alphabet. The law says that when there is war, when there is natural disaster, when there is health epidemic, our fiscal rules and policies should be, upon consultation, suspended. Even the law says that. Even without the law, they talk about the letter and the spirit. Even without that, look at the situation we find ourselves in. So if somebody can prove evidence of, misappropriating state fund, that one day, we all talk about it.
Very
or
well,
somebody says that somebody has siphoned money. But if it's just sheer compliance and saving lives, under those conditions we found ourselves in, then my brother, let's all be honest.
Okay, let's see how this proceeds, Doc.
These issues, and I don't want to compare regimes.
No, we don't have to do that. And Doc, we appreciate your time with that. Yes,
if we want to go by this, I can prove to them that even entities of the state, without even internal audit committees and tender whatever committees, which were very legal requirements, they were not having them. But they were doing procurement without even going through PPAs. I'm not saying if it was wrong, it should be right today. The situation we have today, it is an outlier situation. The KSM Act even creates a margins for that. We ourselves should be, all of us should be ethical enough and be considerate enough and think of saving Ghanaians' lives rather than trying to do politics and seek political capital and competitive edge. I don't think it is in good faith.
Dr. Amwa, we're grateful for your time. We're indeed grateful for joining us with that reaction. Of course, this has just come up, and we'll see how it pans out. But the new phase of COVID-19 vaccination takes off smoothly in the Ashanti region after initial delays. Selected health facilities in the region have begun administering the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines to persons above 18 years. Though the exercise suffered delays in the early hours, takeoff has since been smooth, and taking part in the exercise are 4 districts driving COVID-19 cases in the Ashanti region, Oforikrom, Kwadaso and Asokwa municipalities, as well as the Kumasi Metropolitan. Now, Ohimitiri of our health desk reports some people who received the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine and wanted to participate in Friday's exercise were turned away.
The vaccine exercise suffered delays in the designated centers. Health personnel had to receive training before administering jabs to anxious crowds, some of whom had been in queues for hours.
I came here about 12 p.m. It is almost 1. Now that I get ready to take the vaccine here. I am number 22. Some are here since morning. After they hear the news, they decided to come to here in the morning to take the vaccine, but it's yet to come.
The Menchia and Suntreso government hospitals, the Children's Hospital and the KMA Clinic in Kumasi Metro all started without hitches. This was preceded by advice from health professionals who explained to beneficiaries the do's and the don'ts regarding the vaccine.
First one here, 2 doses, where 1 pet. We are for Johnson & Johnson. And 2 bones are wood your card now, Bejino. I see a honor, young for day to be answer, but you best certify any hologram. And to be our day, my idea go for the who say, what do you know? And I bet wow, baby.
The requirements is 1, you shouldn't have received a first dose of the previous vaccine and come here for the second dose. And then when you are coming, you should come with a valid ID card, preferably the voter ID card, your passport with accurate information.
At the Suntreso Government Hospital, the exercise started at about 9 a.m. and by 12 p.m., 150 people had been vaccinated. Dr. Ejako Poku is the medical superintendent.
By 6 a.m., people were here waiting. By 9, we have started the program. It has been smooth so far. As you can see, we don't have the heckles that we had during the first vaccination exercise. Perhaps people have not heard about it, and we do hope that from tomorrow, we'll get people rushing in here.
According to Dr. Ejako Poku, some people who have had the first jab of the AstraZeneca vaccine were turned away.
Few people who came thinking that it's their second jab were disappointed. But we explained to them that this is a different vaccine altogether and it is not possible they can have it, so they should wait.
How come they were here? Because the announcement was that those who had the first jab, they were not eligible for this exercise.
We do hope that that was all. But we're also anticipating people who will be coming to thinking that every jab is a jab, every injection is injection. So we have to take our time and explain to the people that the drugs are different.
Meanwhile, some beneficiaries, including this prison officer who received their jabs, are happy at the protection the vaccine brings.
The whole world has come to realize that COVID-19 is a very, deadly disease that we've all been confronted with. So it feels good that I've been the very first person to take my shot of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine here at the Menchia Government Hospital.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oyemi Teria reporting.